Okay, I said I was going to do it, and here we are. Okay, today is St. Patrick's Day, and this is a video covering the Williams Blankenship, Irish family heritage. Okay, so let's look at some of the places first before we look at the names. And generalized, we have Northern Ireland, which is part of Great Britain, and the Republic of Ireland down to the south. Now, these would have not existed in the time of our ancestors, okay? And Ireland itself would be part of the Kingdom of England, just like the colonies were. So we're focusing on our ancestors and our migration patterns. And during this time, Ireland was under the reign of the king, who, okay, we're give or take a few hundred years. Well, we're looking at the late 1600s, early 1700s. So that would be that'd be the time during the English Civil War. So we would want to start off with, I guess King James would be good. And during King James' time was the plantation era. So what was going on was they were taking our ancestors from England and from southern Scotland, the lowlands, and moving them up here to the lowlands. I mean the plantations in Northern Ireland. Look at my cursor. And that's why this is heavy populated here. The areas of Donegal were populations, and let's look around Londonderry, of course. Okay. So there's that area to our family history, which is the movement of people of basically Anglos from Great Britain over into Ireland during the plantation era. But that's not to say there wasn't also immigrations going back the other way for reasons especially from Dublin. So Dublin was founded, and there's a port, that's going back and forth from Bristol to Dublin, and doing business with each other. Probably here down in the southwest part, Galway. No, this is going to be the more what we think of as native Irish. I think you're more heavily Celtic groups of people that were never reached by the Romans, by the Normans. They were reached by the Vikings, but the Vikings that did come down that way, they liked being Irish, so they just basically turned into Irishmen, kind of like the Anglo-Saxons did in the Isle of Great Britain. So they would go and they would trade and invade, which is what people do. They like the people, they become Britons. Same way with the Vikings from Scandinavia. They trade and they raid these areas along the coastline, and then realize that Ireland's a great place to live. Pitch a tent and make a family and become Irish. And that's where our ancestors that have, and there's not very many of them, that have the name Fitz. Okay, that is an Irish patronymic name, like Mac would be Gaelic. Okay, so we have a lot of the Mac ancestors, of course, McClellans and McGilvorys, and we even have McCalls. There you go. And you see that a bunch through our ancestries, and that's the Gaelic. And a lot of that is people from up here, from Northern Ireland, who go into Scotland and the Highlands of Scotland, and then down from there down the lowlands. So the old Victorian story of there are two separate races on the British Isles of Great Britain and Ireland and the Isle of Man. of a Celtic race, and this Celtic race are the Irish and the Welsh and the Scottish and the Cornish and the Manx, and everybody else is a foreign invader, Anglo-Saxon, is completely wrong. And modern genetics have proved it to be wrong. What it is that the Irish are as different from the Cornish as the Welsh are as different from the English. But they're not all that different when you look down from them. If you really look down deep in the ancestries, the native British, the tribal British that were there, these were out of the Bell Beaker culture. This stays the same, and it stays the root DNA in everybody in Ireland and Great Britain. This is the root brain. It was never erased. This true Celtic, the guys who didn't build the original Stonehenge, but then rearranged it later to line up with the sun and to make it as a calendar. The guys who are buried in these Kurgan burial mounds that are in Somerset, England, and Devon, very old Bronze Age people. These people here are the baseline DNA of what it means to be British and Irish. And so now when you get a DNA test, well, let's click over here to mine, okay? Okay, so looking at this, and I've got 70% England, Wales, Northwestern Europe, 27% Ireland and Scottish. And what that's showing, the 27%, is showing a group that doesn't carry any Anglo-Saxon DNA, okay? Whereas the Welsh and the English does. I mean, you look at the map, they're right here very close to each other, and of course they're going to do business. Of course they're going to come in contact with each other, and there is a little bit of overlap. I mean, you could, from this point here, in Dover, you can see the continent. I mean, right here. It's no surprise. But the thing about these people that came over from the continent, there wasn't enough of them to just breed out the people, the British who were there. And that baseline British is the same as this Celtic over here. Okay? The same group of people. And it's not a completely different race as the Victorians thought. So, okay, well, let's get back to looking at some of our people by names so we can know, and so you can share this with your kids. Okay, so we have two references in Londonderry. So now, of course, we know the troubles that existed between Northern Ireland and the IRA and all the terrorist group. The Republicans call this town Derry. The Unionists call this town Londonderry because they're more British. That's behind there, but okay, so who was there? All right, Margaret Wiley and a William Jennings. You see a lot of the name Jennings in Ireland. Really strange. You would think it'd be completely English, but no. And a lot from Dublin. I see a lot of Jennings underneath it. Alright, let's go somewhere else. Antrim. There we go. The Armstrongs. Okay, so the Armstrongs were just very, very hard, strong Beaver clan. They were there right there with the Blankenships. And a lot of the guys there in Northumberland. The Armstrongs were this Scottish lowland, northern England. Reavers, hard guys, kin folk in a clan that was really, really difficult. So they were moved over, get them away, get them off this island, and send them over to the land. And a lot of Armstrongs come over in the Great Migration.